no.
Look, we all know the Fairly OddParents reboot is garbage. The name has no sauce. The kids feel like they walked right out of 2011 Disney Channel. They're trying to sell us the idea that Timmy is a college frat boy when really he just comes across as a millennial desperately clinging on to the best years of his life. So basically, they were just taking shots at the adults in the audience. Among all of this, it's no secret that the animation in this show is ugly as sin. I mean, just look at that. This is Nickelodeon, kings of the over-the-top CGI shots and cartoons. How are the likes of Red Ape Family and CoComelon putting the Fairly OddParents to shame? Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating with the Red Apes. The quality's just kind of on the same level as Steak. But despite the animation being the most offensive part of this reboot, most of the critiques on it just boil down to, oh, well, that doesn't look good, and why are the fairies so shiny? Without really diving into what makes it so terrible. And there's a valuable lesson at the core of all this whining, I promise. A lot of businesses operate off the logic of work smarter, not harder. And unfortunately, 9 out of 10 times, what the guys in suits might find smarter isn't on the same page as what you, the viewer, would find smarter. For them, smarter just means making the most money, especially in the competitive age of streaming. Just like the new iCarly, Fairly Odder was fast-tracked to series and spat out a whole 13-episode season before we even had time to process what this was. Announced last February, starting production in July, and there was never an official word on production wrap, probably because of the animation. Would not be surprised if they were still working on a patch update. But they got this thing out in what, 8 months? All of it? The animation was always going to be the worst part. Do you know how long it takes just to make one 11-minute cartoon in 2022? 9 months to a year. Doesn't matter if it's hand-drawn or rigged animation. Now, of course the producers of Fairy Otters or whatever probably thought they had the unique advantage of only having to animate Cosmo and Wanda. So they didn't really need to carve out a whole year, right? I mean, that had to be the mindset. I say, hypothetically. That producers thought,
well, we're only having 2 animated characters most of the time, without needing to hire a ton of people for backgrounds and multiple character designs. Basic cartoon shit. And it'll be rigged, so it'll be cheaper.
What they weren't factoring in was the reality that if you put together the total amount of screen time Cosmo and Wanda has in this season, with, I don't know, the fully animated scenes they do have, you're probably getting way more than 11 minutes of animation. They lacked one of the most important aspects of animation. Patience. Why do you think we're still waiting on the Hell of a Boss finale? I'm sure if Izzy wanted, the team would have pumped that out for Valentine's Day. But it's clear we're having to wait this long because they want to make sure it's polished and badass enough to blow us all away. The Owl House had a massive gap between seasons 1 and 2. And although a lot of season 2 has been using the studio with rigged animation, the characters have never felt more alive visually. There's so many moments where you just look at the animation and immediately get why they cooked this up in the lab for so long. And look, let's be real. I don't think the guys at Paramount Plus really cared about the animation going into this. They outsourced it to Boxel Studio, which, going by their portfolio, seems to really focus in 3D animation and VFX, while their 2D work is kinda consistently Walmart bargain bin, at least in terms of movement. But that animation also wasn't meant to carry an entire show. And at least in terms of movement, their work for the Fairly OddParents just seems worse. It's not a talent thing, it's a time thing. The Fairly OddParents reboot isn't bad because of the talent involved, it's bad because of greed and impatience. Vicky kinda bad though. Kinda like Karen meets Miss Frizzle, I don't know, I fuck with the vision.